so.
2.2,
Okay.
2.5, 2.2 is a 30% increase. If you use that for everybody,
Don't hurt me.
the three guys that are out there now, their prices will drop.
Right. That's correct.
All right, guys, shall we get started? Do you guys have a? So trying to stay nice and current with our minutes, so can we review the minutes first?
Sure.
There's 2 meetings worth. Okay, yep.
No, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. That's a gentleman.
Yeah, well, I'm late and you have to sit in the corner, you know?
We need something to be official, raise it up.
With the Dutch hat. Everybody's reading.
Yeah, they're doing the minutes.
My notes.
They're doing that.
Okay, should we take them one at a time? Are you ready? How you doing, Dave?
First one, I guess. Good.
Okay, so Frank, can you good with the minutes?
I am.
Okay, so the meeting notes from March 7th, do you see any changes that we need to make?
No.
Anybody?
No.
No, okay, so can I get a motion to approve them?
Yes.
Okay, no in favor? Okay, 4-0. Thank you. And then March 28th?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor? Okay, so Dennis, I have a quick question about our recommendations. When do they become, like, when do they get recommended off our plate? Is it after our minutes are approved, or like we voted on these on March 28th? Recommends Public Works, blah, 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 pursue and engage P&B paving to recover the launch limits. What do we need to do with that? Anything?
No.
So just keep it in the minutes.
It's just 2 separate things, so.
Okay, but it needs to be in the
It
minutes.
needs to be in the minutes, yes.
Okay,
But you don't need to approve the minutes before we move ahead with. the
we can still move
recommendation.
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Good, so moving on. Harbor master updates?
One of the updates, I attended the hot master training, in Cascade. I took 2 weeks vacation, so I was out of state for a couple of weeks. Callie's been doing real well on the online one, keeping that up and going. We're down to what, like 22 people that haven't registered? And, so she sent them all out reminders that they have till the end of the month, or they get a $25 late fee. We have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday with some of the installers, mooring installers, to talk about the ghost moorings and there's some moorings out there that were installed back in 2019 and they never had a boat on them. But I don't register them every year or?
I know one that was installed in 2012 that hasn't been serviced since.
Oh, probably on the bottom of the.
Yeah, 162.
Yeah.
Falls.
So we're hoping after our meeting next week, we've had a ton of requests for new moorings. I know Ted and Dave are talking to those new people about locating, where to put their moorings and whatnot. So there's a lot of stuff happening out there in the mooring field. As soon as the boat gets in, Cal and I are gonna go out and update the online mooring with all the GPS coordinates, what we don't have. Other than that, things are plugging away.
Yes. So what will happen, so you get the 22 that are gonna get a letter, and then they can act or not, either register. or
They've
not.
already, I sent it out last week.
So if they don't register, they still own the mooring, does that mean they have to
Sure.
move it?
No, it just means that,
We've
if
got
they,
that process.
no, not that either. After May. Maybe you should know what you're talking about. After May 1st, they're gonna get a $25 fee when they go to register their mooring. Until we hit the end of the year, December 31st.
Okay,
Once we hit January 1st, they will then be late and not have paid it all for 2023. So that would be when we would start a process of saying, you didn't pay for this. What are you gonna do?
so
And
then you'll
potentially
do
you
something
could-
like, what do you?
you could
Are you
potentially
gonna
move
move it or not, right,
I mean, that's,
or whatever?
that's an
Still
option.
interested in being with Cassett,
Right,
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that won't happen till January 1st,
correct,
so they have till the 31st to register for this season.
correct, for the year. Yep.
Okay.
That's gonna be covered by the change in the ordinance, right? That they didn't pay, that we get
Yes,
2 weeks notice to say,
yes,
what are you doing?
right,
Or we'll pull it out and charge you for it.
correct.
But
And
the-
people look at that sailboat, there's no sails, it's just a mast.
Anybody want my sailboat?
The one that's sunken?
No.
Is there one section?
Yeah, the one that's sticking out of the water?
Oh, that one.
Well, that's-
Already.
Yeah, that's a different. Oh, the grant didn't go through. The grant, they didn't get, remember there was a grant in process for taking that boat out?
The sunken
Yeah,
vessel,
the state didn't get it. So it's gonna stay there.
Is the sailboat
It's
free?
just, it's not staying there.
it's on the bottom of the harbor.
Well, the other sailboat is free. The one that's not sunken?
It's not free.
Bid $10 on it, see what happens.
Does it float?
Oh, there, it's full, check it out.
Yeah.
It's at Flow Works, I'm gonna check it out. Right. It's the small one, but.
$11.
11?
Is that the one that's out,
Too expensive.
is that the boat you're talking about, the sailboat?
Yeah, it's
The
down
one
front, it's down front from Flow Works, there's a big one, and then there's the one behind, the blue and white one behind it.
Mhm.
It's not bad looking boat.
Check it out later.
Yeah, I mean, it floats, I know that, because it floated for what, 3-4 months.
So it's ours to sell,
It's ours.
Yes,
or to do whatever.
the yellow sail.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna offer enough for employee use.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, launch ramp repair update, anything?
As far as the launch ramps, I think we're just waiting for the asphalt plants to open up and start making asphalt
Okay, and get on schedule.
and to get on the schedule. I did get, a notice from, I think it was from the Bureau of Parks and Land. They want to give money for recreational boats and stuff. They really do.
That's
And we
It's
can
not
get
only-
in between $50,000 and $100,000 to help pay for some of this stuff, so. For the small amount of, relatively small amount of money that it is, I've jumped through less hoops to get $3 million grants than we had for a $50,000 grant for this, but we are gonna submit it and see what happens.
So I think that's the same grant I was talking about, but they set up for 25,000, so. I wonder if you get that one, if that's gonna cancel out the one I'm thinking of. It's through Parks, that, it's through the same place.
It might, but, and they will pay for the cement ramps, and we have to go that route, which I don't think we're going to have to, but, and it will pay for, you know, part of the building dock and
That'd be nice.
anything that improves that, so. And apparently they don't get a whole lot of applicants for these, they got money last year, they didn't spend it because people don't go for it.
Two applicants.
Can we use it for the seawall things?
What's the name of the grant?
We're gonna put it in and see what happens, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay,
I have it on my desk. I don't know, but-
is it is Emily doing it? Just
No,
ask her. I just wanted to have for my minute.
no, it's something that we'll just do in-house.
Okay, great. Awesome.
So I'm wondering if we're gonna move forward with the asphalt part of it. When can we rip that structure out that's down there? Should that be done before the asphalt?
That's
The
a
decision, the mashed potato brains over here. The last meeting that we had, Ted came to while you were on vacation, and he talked about the whole process, so perhaps you could reach out to Ted and just ask him what the plan is.
Because it needs to come out, right?
It does, but I believe the plan is put the ramps in
Ramps in
first,
first,
Yeah.
and then when,
and then remove that,
anyway,
and then.
My concern is just damaging the new asphalt.
you are not alone.
Well, maybe the.
So Larry, this would be the same, because I'm not talking about this. This is the voting facilities fund, this is the Department of Agriculture.
It's a good.
No, this will pay 75% of the approved cost of $100,000 for our trailer boat launches.
Voting facilities, the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's nice.
And that's in process now?
Yeah, I have to submit this by the 19th.
May 19th.
That sounds really familiar.
May 19th or April 19th?
I'm sorry, April 19th.
Oh, no, mine's May.
No, it has to be submitted by April 19th, they have to do a pre-site inspection before they do anything.
It is definitely the same one.
It's, like I said, it is, for $100,000, I filled out my paperwork for the airport runway, but
How much are you applying for? 100,000?
no, it's not gonna cost us that much to do it.
Okay,
But we can, I think we can do the floats with this,
yeah.
as well as the ramps, because it's all part of it, so.
So didn't we have some cost on the floats? Larry had investigated a little bit. Or you got?
$32,000 roughly.
Yeah, from out at Floatworks or something.
Yeah.
I just called him. And then there's cement, right?
Yeah, cement bulkhead up top that they hook to, and they go
And
out,
then Dolphin,
then one dolphin out the end, one big one,
that's all you need.
yeah, total. So,
No, I don't think so. No, it's not the same one.
I didn't think it was county.
Okay, good. Good, so we might actually get that. Yeah.
That'd be cool. You find that one, I'll find the county, apply for this one.
We definitely looked at that one, because I read it.
I got both of them.
Dennis, any, on the sewer line situation?
Yeah, I got, Ted emailed me a quote from somebody, looking all that up, all the pipe and getting it all hooked up, it's just under $4,200.
4,200? Is that just a little, section that we thought about doing up to the plug line?
No,
Or is it the whole
yes,
thing?
up to the.
Up to, and then we've got to unplug. So it won't be
You gotta-
functional this summer.
That didn't count, but Public Works, I think, will be able to dig that up and figure out, you gotta get that out, so,
Is that 4,200 included, covered by that grant?
yes.
Oh,
Question on the pumping station, since we have a little shack down there, is there any way for it to be connected Is there a way to run plumbing to the shack if they're gonna be running?
Bathroom across the parking lot.
I don't know anything about the pump station, I don't know where
Oh,
it's
you use
going.
plumbing for that.
What, is it running through the dock or is it running?
It's running under it.
Good, that's-
So would there be a chance for it to be, this thing to be plumbed or no?
My concern would be with the pump would kick on down here and
No.
pump everything up your drain.
I
Yeah.
have no idea about anything, I'm asking.
I don't know.
That's part of it, but then there would have to be a pump somewhere between his shack and, I mean, it's not just gonna free flow into that.
It's not gonna grab your feet.
It's not gonna.
It's not- okay,
That's what I was, what I was
okay.
trying to tell.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, I just.
So right now the shack is plumbed, right, to,
It's plumbed to
No.
a tank in the back and then
It's
we have
just
to
got a
take
tank
everything,
in the back.
we have to take everything out of the tank every couple of days or whatever.
no, right, for the drain, but for the incoming water,
Water's coming in, yeah. but
Yeah, from-
Like, you can't send.
which is what we're getting a meter for, isn't that correct? Right, we're
Meter.
splitting something on,
Yeah, water meter and power meter,
right,
so they're both accurate, yeah.
Just curious, thank you.
sure,
And Ted has already talked to Chris about that.
So where is, it's going to run from the end of the pier, wherever the boat pulls out, right?
Wreck there,
Right there.
yeah,
And then the boat pumps it into a receptacle that wastewater goes from there up to the,
It's my impression there's some sort of a tank down there, correct?
there used to be a holding tank.
that's what I thought, so,
This new system is gonna be made, so when the boat comes in to pump out, there's gonna be a series of check valves. So the pressure from the line doesn't come back into the boat itself. So they will put their suction line into their boat, feed the meter, get it going, pump it out, and then once they're done pumping, then they disconnect, and then they're on their
and then
way.
it pushes that,
Right, and then that fills a line that's strapped to the dock, going all the way along, over to making the 90, over to the new seawall we're gonna build, along the new seawall, and then into the pump station.
so why can't he pump down to that little receptacle in the same way?
Because it's a different,
No, it's
No, no,
actual
no.
pump, I thought it was.
His own line,
yeah,
like a hose off of a,
no, it's a
Off of
different
the boat.
setup, so you'd have to have a macerator pump.
It's not like plumbing, it's like.
Right.
It's for the boats.
You just have a
Macerator
macerator pump to pump in the line.
Yeah.
okay,
It's possible, it's called a force main, is what it's called. and-
right, I mean, I understand the concept, I was just wondering why.
It can be done, but you have to coordinate with the town manager,
Yeah.
Ted, and the sewer department guy.
I'll look into it.
you think you could have the feed for his
Maybe
drain? and
I'm a
stuff?
baby engineer. Why?
When it gets
So
up,
he'd have to have a tank with a pump in it to macerate what he's got there. And then once he hits his on-off switch in the pump, it will go through his check valve, so the boat pumping won't come back into his tank.
Hmm.
He's gonna have a check valve there. He turns his pump on, his check valve will open, let his go, and then shut again when his pump turns off. So there's no way that it can backfeed into his tank.
so do boats have a masquerading pump? on
No, not
Or have-
usually. They usually
them?
overboard.
Just go, so when the stuff,
No, these are made to grind solids, toilet. paper.
right, but I'm thinking the stuff that's coming up from our pump,
Mhm.
it
Well,
won't
that's gonna be encased in the whole unit itself. It's
Right.
gonna have a mini macerating pump.
be, oh, there's many, something in there, okay,
I still think you could do it.
okay.
I gotta look at it.
Good to know. So 4,200, how did we ever get a price of 60-something thousand?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Where that came from.
Well, it just seems like high to me, and I'm glad we found out the real
Me
price.
too.
Yeah.
So is that somebody that we can engage?
I don't know, I haven't really looked at it all that closely, you know, just printed it off, just before
Okay.
the meeting, so. And I didn't get a chance to talk to Ted about it.
Okay. So,
Yeah, some of those guys have coordinated on us.
okay, thanks. Okay, great. So moving along. Should we talk about fees first or here? We've got a vendor here that wants to change up his business a little bit for the season. And, or would we prefer to hear what he's got to say or work on what we've been asked to do with our fee structure?
Well, getting done, we can get out here.
Well, actually start with the fees, because I want to talk about that too, and then we can go to that. Let's do the fees first.
Okay. You guys good with that?
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question for Dennis, if you don't mind. What is it that you're looking for? Is it a fee increase to increase the revenue from the pier to the town? Is that the objective?
I think the go around that we seem to have the last few years is this 30 by 34 foot space and this 10 by 20 foot space, which just doesn't exist. We've agreed that you can't put a 30 by 34 building on that pier. So I don't know where those numbers come from, and it doesn't really matter.
Well, we do. They came from the selectmen at the time.
Right,
They proposed that to Frank. And so that's where that came from.
so that's approximately what the square footage of his buildings are that we measured. We got about 900 square feet out of your buildings the other day, right?
Not really.
No, they wanted to know if, I mean, things change down on that dock and at a town manager scenario. They wanted to change something down there. They wanted everything against the railing, up against the railing, throughout the whole dock at that time. And the town manager said, all right, how about if we come up with spaces for Ron and the other ones that were there and ourselves, which obviously we don't have a building that size. And he said, how about if you occupy 34 by 34 space on the dock and pay for it? And they came up with a price and
Well, the hang up is, you've got the 30 by 34 space
Yep.
that you
Yep.
are, which is priced at $1.47 a square foot. But
right,
then you got a 10 by 20 space that's priced at $5 a square foot.
right.
So why the wide disparity? And that's what they're trying to get at. Why is this so much less expensive?
Why does the square footage enter into it? We've been going by 10 by 20 with a fixed price and the 30 by 34 for years, and it seems to work.
But it doesn't, if we go through this, every year that, since I've been a town manager, we've gone through this. Why is it $1.47 here and $5 here?
What does it matter?
It does matter. Well, it
No,
obviously matters because we just keep going around in circles.
what I'm getting at is, Dennis, why is the square foot price a factor now?
Why is it fair that somebody wants 200 square feet and they're paying $5 a square foot versus 900 square feet at $1.47 a square foot?
Well, he's paying a 10 by 24 and paying $1,000. Frank's got a 30 by 34 paying $1,500.
But he doesn't have a 10 by 20, he doesn't have bigger than a 10 by 20 building on that space. He's just got extra space around his.
So there is, but that's how the whole system went. Now, if you want to convert to a square foot price, I guess that's what you want to do.
It just seems to me like it would, one, put this controversy to rest every year. And I realize it's just a small group of people that come in and just keep going over this and over this, year after year. But in other select boards have just kind of gone along with it. This select board just doesn't seem like they want to go along with it. And it seems like the simplest way out of this is just to say, this is the price on a pier per square foot. You got a 10 by 20 building, it's 200 square feet, it's $5 a square foot. If you got 40 40 by 40 building, it's whatever that.
Okay, so you're convinced that we should go with square foot price as opposed to what we got now?
I think I really think they would accept that a lot better than this,
Okay,
what
and
appears to be an arbitrary figure.
getting back to my first question, is the objective to increase the revenue coming to the
It's
town?
always the objective to increase the revenue. If you look at some of these buildings that are at $5 a square foot down here, some of them, there's not gonna be an increase in revenue. Because some of them are actually gonna decrease what they pay now. And Frank's gonna see a slight increase in what he pays.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Presently, we get, what, $6,000 a year, 1,500 for Frank's,
Roughly, yeah.
and 1,000 for the other three.
Yeah.
So that's 6,000. Do you have any idea how high you want to go?
Plus the one at the water pump.
Yeah, it was 7,400 last year.
Right.
But,
Because you got the one over
Yeah.
here.
so,
Because I went through some figures, if you go through the total square footage with Frank's and the 7 10 by 20s that's available, this is all rentable space, is 3,440 square feet. Now, if you divide that into your projected increase that you want, and you get about 14%, and I ran it all the way up to 30%. And that ends up to being about 2.3 or $2.30 a square foot. Is that what you're after?
I don't,
That's a 30% increase.
I didn't quite follow what you mean.
Well, what I'm saying
I don't
is,
think, nobody has set a number and said, we want to see a 30% increase or a 40% increase or 10%.
okay, well, what's the reasonable increase that you would like to see?
That's not my decision. That's yours.
All right,
What I think they're just asking for is a uniform square foot,
right,
so that everybody pays the same. Whatever you guys recommend is whatever you recommend.
and that's what I'm getting at, is what is a reasonable square foot price as opposed to what we got now? Is a 30% increase to the town appropriate?
That sounds like a lot to me.
Why are you guys allowing two people to change the whole
It's the same
thing?
two people every
Same
year.
two people that complain about the same thing.
That's not it, but I get that, but it still doesn't make sense that somebody's paying $1.47 and somebody's paying $5. Just doesn't make sense.
Can I-
Just make it uniform, make it simple.
You're gonna get a deal.
so I think I'm feeling a sticking point. Sorry, Frank, if
Yeah.
Frank's building, if everyone measured their building and because your buildings are not 30 by 34.
No,
The footprint that he's choosing to rent is 30 by 34, but his actual building space that we need the square footage on, like the 10 by 20s and for the other bigger spaces, he just gets the bigger space because he's got his picnic tables. But we're not gonna measure the square feet of picnic tables, are we? You see what I mean? If we measure the building, then that is fair. And then if you pay extra because you want your peripheral stuff, then we'll come up with a price for that, but it's not actually a building. Does that make sense? The footprint is the issue of the building is the issue, isn't it?
What's the actual square footage of Frank's space?
There's two spaces down there that are 30 by 34.
What would we measure, Frank? 29 by 15
Your
on
building.
your big one, and
I
26
think it came up with,
by 15 on the other one?
So,
and, yeah, the one's a little bit bigger than the other, and but that 34 by 34 space came up
30 by 34. Yes.
in that time frame from a town manager. And they were having trouble with, they were trying to figure out what are they gonna do. Well, actually, it was kind of linked to someone wanted to walk on to the dock and not have a obstructed view.
Structure in the way.
I,
I think I've heard, heard
and
that.
so,
Mhm.
and they asked me, Frank, could you please move? And we did again, and we moved it. And I don't know if it appeased her or not, but whatever, we did it and we moved it.
Okay.
And that's how those two spaces came up on that dock. And at that time, within that time frame, within the town.
Did it used to be a 30 by 34 and then you
No,
separated?
no, it was completely different.
Okay,
So Terry, do you agree that this is what the board is hung up on?
sorry,
Do you agree that that is what the board is hung up on?
I agree that it's what the budget committee is hung up on.
Thank you.
Well, there's no.
The board
doubt about
really-
that. It's
I've
been going
never-
around for years, but-
I've only heard one person on the board really care. It was not a board issue. It was a budget committee
But
issue.
it was, but they asked for an explanation of where this came from, and they didn't get it. So I think that was part of the issue as to why is it the way it is? And I know the answer to that tonight, I still think it.
It's an anomaly of, you know,
It's
the historic path that we've tried. It's an anomaly.
Yeah.
They
And
want, that's all.
The selectmen.
I understand this. And it came about as a result of a previous select board decision. So,
Right,
okay, the budget committee wants everything square and 5 square foot and like that, for no really good reason. When you think about it,
No.
I think
because
it's-
what they've done is,
I just think it's easier to do away with that and say it's so much per square foot. That's my opinion.
and
You guys
do-
want
and
to
do
keep it the way it is,
actually,
but you need to come to the
process.
selectmen's meeting and you need to adequately explain that to them.
Could you come up to the table, please?
Why, I'm not part of this meeting.
Yes, you are.
Right. But we keep asking me questions.
Look,
Mr.
you're on the select board, you're the liaison, you should be speaking to the board, not me.
Yes, but I have to talk to a person to see you, so,
I can get it.
thank you.
I tried to.
Stop.
Ms. Terry,
I know better. Okay,
Ms. Terry,
yes.
how are you all this evening?
Y'all is just fine, thank you.
So it is, in talking the history with Frank, that the 30 by 34 and the 10 by 20s was done by selectmen at some previous time that we can't put a date on.
I might be able to explain if I could jump in.
Yeah, please.
2 town managers ago, not Dennis, John O'Connell, Marion tasked me as a part of the waterfront committee to go down on the dock and measure every square inch of the dock and measure all the buildings and the available space that I thought I could put as many buildings comfortably on that dock as I could. That was her task to me. Frank, excuse me, Frank Lobster, had 30 by 34, 2 spaces over there, had that area wrapped up. So she wanted an available walkway from the parking lot to have a view of the chamber building. That was her baby. So we did that. If you remember, we moved the chamber building, so it was a direct shot for her. In doing that, I had to adjust the buildings' sizes to accommodate what she wanted. So that's why they're called 10 by 20 building spots. They're really not. They're 28.5 feet by 18 foot. Each 10 by 20 vendor, that's what space he has on that dock available to him, as well as accommodating for the walkway to the chamber. And that's allowing for the access road up on the pier that we can't use anymore. And that's allowing for a walkway to the chamber and a walkway to the stairs over behind the railway car. In doing that, we had enough space to allow Sprague's Lobster to donate their tables for the use of Sarah's Cafe, Joe Blow pulling off the street, Red Eats customers, Treats customers, anybody who wanted to come down and use those picnic tables, maintained and cleaned by Sprague Lobster. That was their good deed, Sprague Lobster's good deed to the town in lieu of having a little extra space out front of his 30 by 34s, not counting,
You mean closer to the water?
yes, close to the water. That's where all this came from. And then John O'Connell, after Marion left, wanted us to move all the shacks against the rail. That's where the digital outlets came in. And then nobody wanted to move against the rail, especially, that's why the pottery guy didn't move. That's why we had to move everybody against the rail. That's the history on why the spaces are where they are and how big they are. The spaces aren't 30 by 34 and 10 by 20s. They're bigger than that. But that's the numbers they chose to use to charge. So we've only got 7 vending spots, 10 by 20s on that pier, along with the 2 30 by 34s for Sprague Lobster. And we've also got the walkway down the middle, and then we have 2 day use area spots, 5 by 10s, as well as the picnic table, the town picnic table available by the chamber to look onto the water. That's the whole history of that pier. That was my task. Just so everybody knows, and I made a map,
It is.
very detailed map.
It is.
And that's how it happened
That's how it happened.
then,
Then,
right.
I can't help what the, excuse my language, are we being recorded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's how it happened. I won't mention any names, but the 2 folks involved now are not understanding what went on in the past, and that's kind of what has to happen. I mean, you kind of have to honor what happened in the past as well as adapt to what Dennis would like to see us do.
So my question is, so you went through, to figure out the layout.
Yeah.
At what point in time did the money part of it come in, like what you were charging?
That,
Not like what you were charging, but what
right,
the decision.
that was originally right from the start. Right from the start. See, the only building that is grandfathered on that pier is Sprague's Lobster. Everybody else happened after 1985 when the pier policies came into effect. Everybody else except for Sprague's Lobster.
And it's gone up, which is good. And it's gone up again, and then again,
Right.
and now I should have that documented too, what it has gone up.
But I think your wife does have that document.
No, maybe.
So Dennis,
But,
when I come up with the numbers for the square footage, I'm using his plan that he developed.
right,
2 30 by 34s, 7 10 by 20s. You add all that area up, it comes to 34, 40 square feet.
now if we want to change that, we've got to redo this whole,
So if we want to come up with the same amount of money or an increase over what we're getting a year, then I divide that 3440 into a price, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. And so,
whatever you'd like to see, Dennis, that's what we
Well,
want.
it's not, it's, I don't think anybody has set
No,
an increase and said we want to see 10% or 20% or whatever.
it's more to have, it's just fair.
It has the appearance of not being fair, and I'm not sure that it's in,
To who? The town or
well, I think even some of the
someone
select
that
board.
lives in the town?
some of the select board are confused about how this works. Why is it $1.47 for Frank, or $5 for everybody else?
Why, Frank?
That's,
Right.
that.
Well, that's, as he
I
explained,
haven't heard why though.
it wasn't a square foot issue.
Back then, it
Determine the
wasn't a
price.
special issue.
It was
But I think
what's
if
fair
that,
to the vendor.
if that explains to the board, so they understand that, then we might get past this.
See, and I think, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is, in that, our latest recommendation of, it was a few years ago now, but when we went to the 1,000 for the 10 by 20s and 15 for the 30 by 34s, that also included the winter storage, so we wouldn't have the traffic taking the buildings on and off for retail. That fee was also included in that price. And see, I don't think anybody really understands that, except the people who have been on here forever. And I was told that I shouldn't be on here anymore, but, oh well, that's okay.
You were told what?
I was told I shouldn't be on here anymore. Time for new blood. Yeah.
So, okay, so
So
what
if
do
you
you,
take, we made, what, 7,400 last year?
yeah,
Okay, if you take the 3440, which is the total area, into that $7,400, you get $2.15 per square foot. If you want to increase your revenue, which we can do, you know, an increase is always good, then we can run that up a bit. So I guess I'm saying, what's your pleasure? That would be the square foot value right now for what we're bringing in for the 10 by 20s, but what's available there.
Do you have any idea, Dennis, what would appease the two folks?
No, I don't even want to go there.
Okay,
I just-
how about the selectmen?
That's what we need, you need to work on the selectmen,
Right,
that's,
do we have a number we're looking for, or just an increase?
no, I mean, we're just looking for, they're just looking for a recommendation.
It's
from
not
parents. It's-
for an increase.
Okay,
It is for what they perceive as parity.
okay,
That's all. It's the difference between, you know, in the past, it looked like you've been paying by the job as opposed to paying by the
Okay.
hour, whatever. You know, the difference between those two? There was a deal made, and I understood, I really do understand it, how these things
all
evolve.
right, how would this evolve between
Right,
former selectmen and former town managers? It's just
There-
hard to change every time there's a new town manager or a new board every
agreed.
couple
And
of
somebody
years.
needs to write this history down.
Right.
I charge you.
Mhm.
Write it down,
I will.
okay?
But that is one of
It's
the
a good-
problems
it's-
of having a turnover in a select board or a town manager
Exactly.
constantly.
Right,
Is you run into these constant problems.
right.
To keep somebody
So,
here for a while.
If we're not negotiating for a price here.
Okay,
We're negotiating for parity. What do you propose is a fair price per square foot?
$2.15 per square foot would bring in the revenue that we made last year if everything was rented.
Is everything rented?
No.
Okay, that's where you
But
got the 3,400 square feet altogether?
Yes, that's where the rub comes in, because if you're gonna go with a square foot, it's, if he's coming in with a new business, what's the square foot price? That's what it is.
Also, one of our arguments would be that pier has less traffic, should it be valued less as well? Because we don't have the same traffic, we don't see the same money. Would that pier also be a cheaper value if we're gonna be nitpicky about it? And is that pier different from that pier? Is that this amount of square foot per dollar, and is this that amount of square foot per dollar? Because the piers are different values in themselves, no one really goes
We can
down.
make a recommendation to that.
well, and
That's
then,
one of our-
access your pier by boat,
Right,
and you can't add them.
right.
see this, we decided back a ways to say piers,
Okay,
both piers.
yeah.
And we had to have just pier policies, that's basically it. As it is right now, we've got one 10 by 20 spot, two 10 by 20 spots available. Well, actually, three aren't paying right now. There's a No, Sal's gone too, isn't he? So we got 1, 2, 3 open spots on the pier right now, Main Street Pier. Why I say 3 open spots? No, actually, we've got 4 open spots. Because the chamber doesn't pay a yearly fee in lieu of being the chamber. And we have a 10 by 20 beside those guys. And then we have industrial main. And then we have a 10 by 20 beside the pottery guy and a 10 by 20 in front of the pottery guy beside Forgotten Recipes. So we actually have 4 spots there right now.
Available.
Well, and we also have the ATM guy.
The ATM guy, he doesn't,
We just charged him electricity last year. He did say, he has not reapplied yet, but he knows. He did say he was willing to pay rent.
yeah.
And he should.
So-
And he should.
And he will, and he will.
Yeah.
I don't know, that ATM, I don't know why that's, anyways.
Mhm.
It was just hard to get a hold of him for the longest time. He just
Yeah, it
sort of
was.
plugged in.
The
and-
smartest thing to do, put it in there.
Yeah.
He will pay for a spot, I promise you that.
So do you think for this year, we come up with so that, because it is April, we need to get things moving, I think.
Yes, they have a public hearing on this on next Tuesday, so you have to make a decision tonight as to what we're gonna do.
Okay, so do you think going with the $2.15 a square foot per 30 by 34 or
Or
per,
building space.
huh?
The 217 is per square foot of building space.
Building space. So Frank's would be
No, it's for all
the square
7,
footage on the.
10 by 20s and 2 30 by 34s.
See, right now,
See, I-
I paid for 10 by 20, but they only use 120. Right.
I think if it's explained to the select board the way David just explained it,
Mhm.
they can get a better grasp of why this is the way it is. Because I just got a better grasp of
Right.
why it's the way it is.
why it's the
I'm
way it
still
is.
not sure that's gonna get past the, why is it 147 here, $5 there, but
Well, we can make it that. We can make it $2.15.
well, having the revenue go down
That's
is
not
not
the-
gonna.
I
it's
know.
not gonna cut it.
Yeah, well-
Although I can think of a good reason for that to happen, but.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
what
what's
if
gonna,
we just, what if we changed or suggested the price per building foot? So then Frank would be paying by 29 by 15 instead of 30 by 34. And come up with a
but still,
per square foot price.
that won't take care of the difference between the 30 by 34s and 10 by 20s. See, right now, we're taking into those, in our equation that we want to go to $2.15. It's gonna take in that all those spots are rented, and we've got 3 empty, and the chamber doesn't pay a fee. They pay their electrical, but they don't pay a fee because they help the town with the chamber business. So we can't really count those 4 spots in our
Right.
equation. So if we go with a $2.15 figure, that's really, I don't know if that's,
Kind of going the wrong way.
yeah, it's accurate, because we're not gonna achieve what, I don't think we're trying to achieve.
Right, then what I would have to do is to take what is rented
Right,
and come up with a square foot.
right.
Want to do that?
I would think that would be, right now, we don't have any new vendor,
Then let me see what
no new
that,
vendor application.
let me see what that comes out as.
See, that's the whole thing is, I've been trying, we as a community have been trying to find that fine line in between still adjusting the price up, so we're getting more revenue, because we got no amenities down there, we got nothing, power, that's it. No water, no sewer.
So if everybody who wants a building down there, like the jam guy, he's paying $5 and something a square foot for his building.
Right,
So why shouldn't Frank be paying 5 something for his building?
And I think this is where the hang up is.
That's-
That's
That's
the whole,
That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, so it sounds like everybody's making it more complicated than what it is. I would say figure out a price for square footage of your building that's down there, and that's what it is.
Right, so if
That's
Frank's
what
paying
I'm gonna do.
1,500 for a 30 by 34 space
Spot.
now, and if you increased it to $5 a square foot for just the building, then it's only, it goes up a little, it goes up to 21.75.
And what's he paying now?
1,500. But he's
Yeah,
got,
I
you know,
agree.
and that's for one of the spaces, so he's got 2 spaces, so that would be
But then,
42.
his building's what, 10 by 10, 10 by 12? So, you know, you're gonna lose revenue on that, on that
Yeah.
So
side.
look, it's the $5 a
That's
square, so $5 a square foot is what it's at now.
See, that's
Right, but his buildings, if you're gonna charge Frank by the
Oh.
square foot on his building, then you're gonna have to do it with everybody.
See, that's what the people who don't understand how we calculated this don't get it. They just don't get it because they're not understanding that the winter storage fee is still in there and all the stuff. So if we charge just the square foot, come shutdown time, okay, buildings off, you know, because they're not paying for it,
So
you
have,
know?
so have a dollar amount, so it's all the same, up to so many square feet. And then like Frank's got 2 buildings down there, the second building is a different rate, a lower rate. If you got 2 businesses, you're bringing in more people, everybody's benefiting from that. So for the second building, have a different rate. So the first people come in, okay, up to the first so many square feet is this much per square foot. After that is this much per square foot. So the first, 120 square feet is $5.50 a square foot. Over 120 feet, it's $3.50 a square foot, or something like, I mean,
No, I think.
So you
we're
get a
all
price
on
charge for bringing in more business.
one price, if we go with the 2 10 by 20s that are rented right now, the 3 that
Three.
are rented right now, plus the 2 30 by 34s, we end up with $2.80 a square foot, and that way the town does not lose any money.
How much?
$2.80 a square foot.
so does that mean everybody else is paying less and Frank's paying more?
It depends on your area. Frank has more area, he pays more.
Right. But if they're going from $5 to $2, that means Frank's going up a lot.
Yes, that's right, which didn't seem right to me. Just for the sake of having the same price per square foot. Because of the history of how that happened.
Right.
Frank would
It's
be
true.
going, excuse me, Frank would be going from $3,000 to $5,712. So it'd be $2,700 more per year.
That's quite a bit.
Yes, it is.
But everybody else is paying less.
But then everybody else will be paying.
Yeah, I don't.
So then Frank's basically subsidizing. the others.
Yeah, again, like,
No, he's not subsidized, he just has more area.
Well, yes, I agree, he has more area, he should pay more, but.
And if we go with that price, then it's fair to Ron because he's paying $2.80 square foot. Same with anybody that comes in, they pay the same.
Well, I guess
$2.80
there's
a square foot.
mixed things on it though, because Ron may be doing business because Frank's bringing them in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but
But you know what I mean? I don't, there's gotta be a simpler way to do it.
I agree that means, and I said that earlier, I just don't understand why we don't just charge by the square foot.
And that's how you would to equal the same amount of money you made last year.
So what does it come up to if we just round it up to $3?
For whom, Frank, or for everybody?
For everybody.
All right.
Do you know this, the 2 sections that we have, what
So you
size
go
those
with
are?
10 by 20.
yeah, it's on that paper. Sue, what's there
In between the
on that
two.
sketch I made? Of,
Yeah, what's our square foot?
Cookies ice cream.
You're on the back.
What's the,
It'd be 600 for Ron. And it would be 25.
So
It'd be 6,100.
See, that was your building plus the ramp walkway, plus the,
30.
And that's a 100% increase of price.
32?
You know, and I don't,
19.
personally, I think I can see that.
see, this is.
That's how you end up with a square foot for everybody. If you do what the chief is saying, it complicates it a little bit
More,
more.
these pounds,
You know,
Well, it's
one
complicated
rate-
for the first few years because there's gonna be that shock value.
One rate for somebody, a different rate for somebody else, kind of thing.
This is stuff I was over here, long times.
There's no charge for the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
What,
Flies, rainy day, windy day, we're up to creek.
No, I understand all of those arguments, but
But I think the $5 a square foot that's being paid now with the 10 by 20s, if you make Frank pay that, that's $10,000, and that's 230%.
I can't get that through. What square footage were those buildings? They're not that big.
No, I'm using the 30 by 34s.
He's using the.
No,
That's why I wanted to know.
That's why I keep saying, if you're gonna do it by on a square foot, those need to go away.
All right.
Nothing,
Yeah.
just by the buildings alone, or
Just by
the
the
footprint that they
buildings.
need.
So,
Okay.
435 square feet for Frank for one building times two, is, you know, 870.
What was the total, Frank, was it 900 square feet that you were taking out total?
yeah,
Just buildings?
I've got you down as 825 square.
Yeah,
feet.
so
That's
somewhere,
Just buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
it's just buildings, yeah.
That's good.
No, not the dollar number, the amount of size I had.
825 times.
Well, and two,
The whole thing would be good.
if you're one business and you're having, you know, you've got a second building, maybe that should be a discount, like you were suggesting.
If you go with just Frank's building and you go $3 a foot, you're ending up with $24.75. That's $525 less than he's paying right now.
right, and I understand an increase, and I do, really. I mean, typically what's happened in the past, it's gone up. For me, it's always gone up at least $500.
Right.
And, but not $8,000 or $6,000.
I don't think anybody's looking to go up that.
So-
Well,
That's what was happening.
Well,
Yeah, the figure that was mentioned, well,
Everybody
Yeah.
has a $5
Anyway.
If everybody went to $5 square foot,
25
that's
square
exactly what's gonna
It's
happen.
4125 for his
It
two
would have
buildings.
doubled, more than doubled.
well, but Frank, you're not paying $1,500, you're paying more than that, because you're buying,
It's just re.
what your fee last year was what?
It's not the same. So why don't you-
And I gotta look, you know, and I know the picnic tables are, some of them are.
I don't, to me, they're not, because I know a lot of other people use
So it's
them
just
other
a-
than,
yeah.
other than rules.
Dennis, where you go?
Hang on just a second.
It was coming back to the people on here.
I think that's the way.
That's all, put everybody at $5 a square foot for their building space, so that keeps everybody the same over or whatever. You know, you might add a couple dollars,
Yeah.
somebody else might go up a couple, I don't know what we're gonna do about the ATM guy. I think he's just gonna get a flat rate.
No, then-
Yeah.
Well, and
Charge them for a small shed.
if you're
Go
going
back
to come up with some kind of rate for your ATM, maybe at the same time you could consider a rate for where he has his
Ron,
picnic
what's your
table
building
and
size?
take
10 per
that
hour.
space out of his annual fee. You know, if you have a space that doesn't have a building on it. Oh, boy.
A space of the, okay. I'm not- You tell me later.
I think that the ATM doesn't get charged by the square foot, okay?
Right, like a flat.
Well,
Yeah.
you should be
That
charged.
would be like $15.
Please, yeah. That
well,
was
like a
just.
couple of bucks a year.
But he get maybe it's
Insane.
a
3% of every transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a service fee. In a way, maybe the chamber should.
Yeah, so Frank, last year you paid $4,000.
Yeah.
This is a small lot and a large lot. Sue had come up with another plan. Well, right, but then you get away from the square. That I think will work.
Okay, so if we put everybody at $5 a square foot for their building footprint, never mind the footprint.
That was what I had in my head, is their buildings.
Well, it
their
migrated
building
over
footprint at $5 right across the board, and just, then that, you know, Frank
So
would see a
they'll-
little bit of an increase,
Yeah,
but some of them would see a little bit of a decrease.
How much can increase would you feel?
it's about the same. Be 4125 for this year for your two buildings. Never mind the picnic tables at the.
Yeah, because I know people are gonna get hung up on that, I don't get hung up on that, because I know they're being used by
But other people-
a lot of other people,
Yeah.
Frank cleans them and takes care of them, and so I don't have an issue with that.
Have we lost our vision, what we're trying to do down there too? Have we lost that we're gonna increase everything so the vendors leave?
Wait, wait,
I
Well,
understand that,
I
I get
don't,
it.
we can't sit at the same price forever and ever, I mean,
I get it.
we have a huge,
And, well, and it has,
huge
it has
increase
gone.
in our budget every year, and fees just have to go along with that
Right.
every year.
They have-
And I'm not saying they have to be exorbitant,
Right,
and when I'm certainly not trying to run anybody out of business, but,
right.
um,
I didn't mean that when I said that either.
no,
I'm just saying that our whole vision is to have every spot rented down there.
Dennis, on the building sizes, and I'm not sure about yours, but with Ron's
It's on the back of that page right there,
and the Potter,
on the back.
anyway.
Give 9 by 12.
at $5 a square foot, we're looking close to $6,000 for the year.
Total, including both, the ice cream place, and, sorry, it's always gonna be the ice cream place.
That's all right.
It's like it's always gonna be Liverage.
Shane's share.
But before you figure that, Dick, on the ice cream, he wants to increase his spot he's renting to a 30 by 34 instead of a,
I want the whole side.
instead of a 10 by 20.
Which is what I think you had last year, because she wanted to be able to put the picnic tables out, and so we.
Yeah,
just-
she had more space last year than what was
Right,
rented, but trying to get
The
it.
picnic tables were the town's picnic tables, those weren't ours.
Right, right.
those, none of those were
No,
yours?
those are the town's picnic
Okay,
tables, those
I'm
are the
getting
dogs.
mixed up with the,
We had, this is literally what we had from here to in front of these pilings to just beyond the shed,
Mhm.
according to us, I think.
Yep.
We'd like to go all the way to the corner,
As you see on that,
and
Oh.
also get a liquor premise
okay,
to put alcohol in down in the beer.
so you know it'll have to be sectioned off.
yeah, as you can
Yes,
see,
so,
Ah.
so that being the case, I'm not gonna agree with the theory that we're using with Frank, because they have to limit that to the people that are there.
Okay,
You know, if they're gonna have a liquor permit, they can.
so so we're gonna have to come up with another fee structure for that type of business? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, but I'm saying that, you know, we don't wanna charge Frank the additional square footage for the picnic tables, because they're gonna be used solely by the public.
Yeah.
He's gonna petition off
So
an
it's
area
private.
that's gonna be, so he can get a liquor license. That's exclusively his area. He's gonna kick people out and say, you know, you can't have sit here. Then they should be charged for that.
So for,
he understands that. He understands.
Well, it's
Yeah.
more that we have to have a cordoned off area to be able to serve alcohol.
Right, I get that.
It's not that we're.
Right, no, I get that.
We,
But
if we
then-
could be open to people coming and
But,
using. it,
You know, Frank's making a little bit of money off his picnic tables. You're gonna make a lot of money on yours, because they're pretty much exclusively yours.
so should we have these building square footprint price, and then the, I don't know, additional pier space price, which maybe is $3
Well, we had
a
it in
square
our-
foot?
And I think that makes sense.
We had our
Something like
accessory
that.
furniture price in our
Yeah.
original proposal.
We did it at someplace.
Yeah.
I would ask that maybe we get a year to get on our feet with this thing without
Yeah.
hitting us with it. We only just started last year. We didn't even make 5,000, and that's basically what we're gonna be paying. I mean, so just to be honest with you guys, we didn't even make $5,000, so I'm trying to,
You're close.
I'm trying to get it together so it brings attention down there. So I would maybe ask that maybe it gets held off for a year or two.
But see, this year, you're gonna be charged for your electrical, other than
Yeah,
exactly, because you got all the freezers and that stuff all went on the town's
yeah,
pocket last year. And
Yeah.
and it just got checked out a $75 fee,
okay.
just so we're clear.
Yeah,
We understand, you know, we know, and I agree that, you know, it'd be nice to get it up and running, you know, so the whole point is to be successful.
Right.
And make money.
And-
Everybody makes money, the town makes money.
Yeah,
You know, it's so easy, it's a simple concept.
$5 a square foot for you would be $900 for your building.
And you
right
pay, I
now.
think you paid 1,500
Yeah.
last year.
No, for us, it would work for us. I'm not arguing that.
So if we.
Right now.
if we-
Right now.
But when you increase, see, he's gonna increase to 30 by 34.
Right,
So he's gonna have to have another rental on that, not counting his bills. but he's gonna have another sectioned off area just for his customers.
And would that be
Well,
30 by
it's liquor
34 or would that be?
Well, we have to go down and measure to see what he'd like to do and,
Yeah.
you know,
So you'll entertain more than one price per square foot based on contingencies?
Yeah, and that's why you go through the interview process. So we figure that out and then we just recommend, and then the select board finally decides.
So we're gonna recommend $5 a square foot for building
Building.
footprints.
And then $3 for not.
Right, because if for private additional space, is that what we call it?
Well, you had those
Special
called
use.
accessory
Yeah,
furniture
we called it
fee,
accessory furniture.
accessory furniture fee we had in our original plan.
Oh, yes, we had
Right,
it.
so the recommendation will be
Mhm.
$5 per square foot for building footprint,
Mhm.
$3 a square foot for,
Accessory furniture,
Yeah. That's, we need to, I think we need to be
Accessory area.
clear that it's,
That's
See,
the picnic area, is that what you're
private or
talking
it's-
about?
no, that's not for the Main Street pier, that's for his
he's down on the
sectioned
rec,
off,
Rec pier.
his sectioned off,
which
alcohol vending area.
it's open to the public, but it's gotta be,
So he's
sectioned
gonna
off,
be
It's gonna be
$5 a
six.
square foot.
Plus
he's being,
plus the three for his sectioned off picnic tables. So he's gonna have a sectioned off area, so he can serve his alcohol.
I don't know how you wanna word that, but $3 per foot for,
Accessory furniture area.
I think that's what we call it.
Yeah.
we called it in the past, but it's kind of like, but it's for the additional private space or something, additional licensed space. Because that's, you're gonna need that for your liquor license.
You could call it your business presence or your business, not presence, like your premise, your business premise,
Premises, yeah.
your premise, not just your building, your premise. So we're paying $5 square foot for our building and $3 square foot for our premise,
Yes.
our premise,
Licensed.
our licensed premise.
That's it. Very good, thank you.
The premise.
What I missed?
What's the?
You have to say premises.
Premises.
So the
A premise is something
premise
else.
Or whatever, so.
And Terry, you gotta realize when you have School Fest, that's his area.
There is no school fest this year. It's gonna be Shane Fest. Well, this is why I wanna build this whole thing up. I wanna have parties in the parking lot. I wanna extend the premise for certain events and have bands and have music down there and make this place really jumping down there on certain weekends like we've done.
Great, which I want to hear all about, can we finish our
Yeah, go ahead.
thing first before we get lost down that? Okay, so we're good with
Shame.
the building footprint, so everyone's gonna have to go measure, right?
Yeah.
And then $3 for the licensed premise, and the public, the picnic tables that are open to the public, I think, let's. Let that go.
Yes.
You might,
The ones that are open to the public,
we're good with that,
benefits everybody. Suck it up.
I can't look over here, we're good with that?
Yeah, we're good with
1,
that.
2, 3,
1, 2, 3.
okay,
sound good?
Sound good.
okay,
Sound good to you, Dennis?
2 abstentions, 3 in favor.
Yes.
I'm not good at math. What would that charge us for the whole new section then?
How much of the area, you know?
It would be a 30 by 30, you said?
30 by 34 is the next size up from what you're renting now.
That would basically give me that.
If-
whole point.
When we talk about renting out that whole area, we're gonna have to go down and measure.
Okay,
yeah, so,
So it's gonna be a square
So we
foot.
don't know that.
right,
okay,
so you're gonna have the price you pay for your little building.
Yeah.
And then the price you pay for the rest.
Right,
okay.
so we'll go down, I can meet with you and we'll go down and we'll measure it off and make a little map.
I'll get your contact.
Yeah.
So going
If
forward,
you do that, it's 1020 square feet times 3. You're talking $3, $3,060.
3,000 plus the 900 for the building. Okay.
$3,060 for $3 a square foot,
Yeah, for 30 by 34.
No, that includes everything.
that would, that's a little.
That includes everything.
30 by 34 would be his.
The 30 by 34 is where his building is. He's on a 10 by 20 now on the
Oh, I
back.
thought that 30 by
They take
34 was the
See.
area that you wanna.
Well, see, we've got to go down and measure. He'd like to extend his footprint he's on now to at least 30 by 34 to accommodate his alcohol sales area. But we have to go down and measure so we can accommodate what he'd like to have, and then I'll come back with a figure that we can figure out how much he's gonna pay.
All right, and he's gonna be $5 a square foot for this building.
For the building footprint. And then whatever we measure out, whatever he'd like to have down there,
Okay,
I'll come back, okay, with Dennis, and then I'll come to you guys with what,
So it shouldn't be that much.
no,
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't be that much.
no,
Okay, so Dennis, for next
that won't be
Tuesday,
that much.
for next Tuesday, if that's the public hearing, do I need to get in touch with the vendors and suggest they measure their buildings?
Or
And,
would you like me to do it?
They probably should, I mean, if they want to.
and they may know the measurements.
Would they trust me to do it again? I did it once, I can do it again,
Go
Does the
ahead,
vendors
go
trust
ahead,
me
I
to do
don't
it?
think anybody minds.
okay,
I'll suggest that and I'll say, you know,
okay.
tell me now. Okay, so we'll try to have that all set for next Tuesday. Now, were there any other fees that we need to address, like, the, launching fees?
So the suggestion was made that the launching fees match what the pier, what the mooring fees were. So instead of $50 a season, it was 75
Right,
for residents and 175 for non-residents.
Was it expressed that the numbers that we came up with were just a starting point where we don't really have a firm grasp on what's happening as far as boat launches go, and that they will be revisited next season?
I don't recall points being made.
Okay.
We certainly,
Just because
certainly do read it.
we don't know, and this is gonna be the first season with the cameras up, to be able to kind of see what's going on down there. So we just came up with a number based on what we found around.
I mean, that was again, another budget suggestion.
So different.
well, yeah,
I mean, and 50 and 100 seemed in line with research that was done of other.
and it's also
areas.
gonna be the first year that we're
Right,
actually implementing it, I mean, we don't.
right,
And the mooring fees have gone up $25, right?
right,
And this is the first year of that.
correct.
So
75?
the mooring permit fees are 75 now, right, for
Yes,
residents?
they are.
And they want the launching fees to go to $75 for residents, which includes marine harvesters. But that's also for the season.
But that's just if you put in at the waterfront. If you go put your boat in up at the ferry. they
Yeah,
don't
no
cost
cost
anything.
Right. So my suggestion would be that we keep it the same. Just
$50.
keep- Yeah, because it's our first season. Is that gonna come up next week also?
It will come up next year.
So
I
I
agree,
don't know what you guys think about that.
I like $50.
I think we should keep it the same.
So $50 for an annual fee for any resident who wants to.
Long.
And $100 for non-residents.
So that includes like the wormers or whatever that launch their boats, you know, and every
It
other
includes
time.
anybody that's beaten up those launch ramps that have to be repaired.
Then, and what about the commercial boat haulers?
We got
That
them,
was 300, right?
yeah, it was
Which I think, I personally, I think that's too cheap. I think they should charge more.
but we gotta start somewhere.
No, start it,
That's,
yeah, I know, that's the deal, I think.
But it's better for the town than what we're getting now, because we're not getting anything.
You wanna run that up?
what?
The 300,
No, not yet,
that's for commercial,
no.
you think it's too low?
I think you gotta start and, no,
So where are we right now? Because we already recommended these once. They're
Right, if you
already
just
rec-
want to keep them where they're at, just tell them your
But
recommendation.
if we did want to change them or raise it,
That doesn't mean they go along with it, they decide to do something.
no,
totally
that's not
different.
what the suggestion that we raised. it.
So did we come up with a day use?
$10.
$10.
Yep, for like the weekend guy.
So if I'm a resident and want to put my boat in at the beginning of the season, take it out at the end, I just pay $20.
No, you pay $75 and you can
Use it twice.
take it in and out all the year.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
That's
I mean,
funny.
If I'm only gonna use it
Well,
twice, why would I pay?
It actually is, because the $50 is for those people who come and launch it and take it out. And launch it, take it out. If you're just gonna launch it once and put it on mooring for the whole summer. I would buy the $10 day
That's pretty
fee.
funny.
well,
It's
you
$10
launch it
in,
here
$10
and then
in,
take it out
$10
of the ferry limit.
Well, if I want to be cheap, I can, I don't have a problem paying $50, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I would just, as harbor master, somebody's gonna come ask me that question.
Yeah, well, so I can send you the recommendation. Okay, so do we want to change it or just let it ride for this year? And see what we find, remember, see what they're on the cameras.
Right.
Okay,
And maybe we can add that to our
It's-
online.
it's more than what we're getting
You wanna
now.
pay that right there? Could we do that?
and it'll be interesting what you hear, because you'll hear stuff.
Well, yes, I think the public hearing on this will be interesting on that.
Well, no, I mean, down at the water.
Hey, what's your problem?
Okay,
And the launch fees, is that just for like motorboats? If somebody wants to come put a kayak in?
kayaks are free.
Okay.
Yep, I'll send this to you, Larry.
Sure.
Okay,
Hey, you know, things are gonna happen, things will pop up that we didn't think about, and we'll just have to readjust it when the time.
And as harbor master, I have discretion to work with it.
You should do.
you sure do. Okay, good. All right, anybody have any other business? Other business?
Oh, I have a question.
Okay,
So we, and it does in fact have to do with fees. So we talked about removing the $100 for the commercial fishing use permit.
Yeah.
So there's still a charge for using the mast and boom or not using it. But what does that give them? I mean, obviously the mast, if I'm not using the mast and boom, what am I paying $50 for?
at the commercial pier.
I totally lost them.
Keeping your dinghy,
Is that what it is?
that's a, right?
What's that?
So
So,
commercial pier, there's a, well,
Yeah, that included tie-up
yeah,
for the dinghy and about $50 for the year and $200 for the mast and boom.
yep, and then space
Okay.
on the dock at his discretion in the
Right.
off-season. Because remember, we took off the $100 for the tie-up because we wanted to try to attract other
Have
bigger
messed
boats.
That was just off-season, that $100.
Yeah,
okay.
so now they can tie up, you know, working with Larry or whatnot, and then over on their pier.
Just on the commercial pier, right?
Yeah.
So they have to stay off of the residential.
Well, we're trying to
Ideally.
keep the recreational pier available for,
Perfect. That's what I needed to know. I
Okay.
just didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
for the Virginia and for another boat that wants to come in.
is it
So
called?
my thought I had rolling around in my head is that we should think about setting a fee for that off-season use of the residential pier like you're talking about, just to have something
We do,
set.
yeah, we do have a fee. It's $80 a square foot, excuse me, a foot. $80 a foot is
Is it per
what we had for the
Right,
piers that the slips that we were gonna put in.
right.
That's what I used for the Virginia, but it was, so that would have been $4,000, except they were here for only a half a year, so that was $2,000, and they paid that as soon as they came back.
So all I'm saying is that I totally agree. I know where the number came from, but that we should get it like in writing, like set, like,
I'm confused. If I have a 30-foot boat that wants to come and stay in December for a night, I'm gonna charge them $90.
Yeah, the usual
That's-
tie-up fee.
during the regular season, we're talking off season.
Yeah,
No, I'll see that someone.
and he's talking about off-season too. I would stick with that,
Yeah,
just for simplicity.
It's
For the
$80
guy
a
that's
foot.
just, the other that wanted to stay for 6 months, that's where we came up with the $80 a foot. And I know what you mean, it should be.
Sure,
part of the
I
recommendation.
yeah, we just need to have, like, so I have a fee list, so I just wanna have something
Yep.
that it went out there, everyone said yes.
So we're
and
going with $80
set.
a year per foot, right,
$80 a foot.
per
Yes.
year, 12 months,
Yes.
and you're there for 6 months.
Well, that's what it's slip though, but if somebody wants to come in at the fee for tying up to the wreck, well, is the same year round. If Shane wants to bring his boat down, put it on the wreck float,
No,
it's gonna cost it the same as June as it does in
So
December.
we were for the
Is that
Virginia, we were only considering off-season.
Right, we're
We
only
weren't
talking
considering
about-
year-round.
There is no off-season on the wreck float. As far as people want to tie up.
There was, for the, like fishermen, there was.
Yeah,
It was
that was
both.
$100, they paid $100 fee to tie up in the rec float in the winter, right?
Yeah.
And we did away with that.
Correct.
so that we could have the Virginia or somebody come in and
And then
inspect.
he can have the discretion to put them where he wants.
So what he's saying is it's not the same year round to tie up. That we want to set a set fee if someone wants to sit there
You
for,
can explain it to me tomorrow.
I keep it the same. I keep
and
it
that's
at
fine.
$30.
I
No,
like,
you're gonna stay
the price is great. I have no argument about that. I just want to get it set.
I think
So
you're
that-
absolutely correct.
That we can say we're charging everybody the same. That's all.
I've been asked twice about the insurance,
Yeah, and
and
have we,
and I sent them down to talk to you, I said,
yeah,
go talk to Kelly.
I hope, I can help.
And that was in one of our recommendations too, to make it requested, not required.
And that it's been taken care of. The former harbor master said that it was taken care of through the state law for cell insurance, because I wanted cell insurance, so we don't have another boat on the bottom like we have out there, where the minesweeper is. That was, I thought that was important. Come find out, I guess that was taken care of, and that's been a sticking spot with a lot of people
Having insurance,
having insurance on the
Correct.
vessel, because they have to have a marine survey on the vessel and the whole works, so.
right, and we talked about,
So we decided to drop that, is that correct?
yes, but I don't know if it got far enough that I can implement it.
Okay,
That's where my question is, like, I'm good.
Oh,
to go.
so our recommendation,
Right,
did it ever get to the select board?
No, I don't believe so.
So what happens to the, I send those up to Robin or whatever. I assume it ended up in packets. I don't, so should I resend it and?
If that's, if you're gonna recommend dropping, I thought we had this conversation and decided we weren't going to do it. That's why. it
We're
didn't
going to
go.
do
right, we
weren't
weren't
going-
have insurance.
Right,
No,
we did.
weren't going to drop the insurance. We were going to continue it.
We're requesting it, not requiring it.
Well, you, nobody's gonna do it, then I don't.
I don't know. If you have a nice yacht, you probably have insurance on it.
It might be a good idea.
Well, we all know that this minesweeper was in.
What's happening with our recommendation?
I don't.
It's an off the ball before it hit the ball. We all know that.
Well, that's what I said about when we had this conversation back along. I said, now that you have a heart of this, actually paying attention.
Right, that's the thing, that's,
Right.
And
That's
can
what-
move the boat like we already did this year before it became an issue.
right, I think that's, I thought that's where we were.
Yeah. Yeah, I send these. So I don't know where they end up. But here's the. Invitation launching fees, there's the insurance requirement, recommendations for adjusting commercial pier use, removing that. And then,
Yeah.
I know you're trying to tell me something. All right.
Doesn't do any good to give them to them. This is never get on the agenda if it goes there.
recycle paper. Somebody else.
This didn't get on the agenda because it's on the agenda now.
Okay, good.
And this was, I think we already dealt with that. We dealt with this when we did the Virginia.
Okay.
Because that's how we get Virginia in there to start.
Yeah, no,
So what's the, where's the insurance one? Okay, it didn't get on, it didn't get on the agenda because it was, we were still working with this, so we could just put it on.
Why
the
would there be a
agenda.
problem?
Okay, good.
Why would there be a problem?
I think I got the draft out.
I don't know, it worked.
You got the draft.
No, that wasn't what I was after.
All right.
I figured it out.
Oh, good, thank you, because I sure couldn't.
Yeah.
All right, great, are we done with fees? Awesome.
I hope so.
You guys have done some good work.
But what about the applications for vendors?
I think we're gonna have to wait to go over them until we have the fees correct, and we let them know. So they can either come to public hearing or,
Oh, so you're not going to approve any of the vendors?
I don't think we can without fees.
Oh, I don't know why you can't approve the vendors. It's up to them if they decide they want to pay it or not.
Okay,
after the fact, but I wouldn't delay
okay.
that.
You just want to
So
do
we
that?
sign up for it and then we later decide we don't want to pay the new fees back out.
Correct,
Yeah.
but you lost your $30.
Okay, that's fine.
You're not gonna back out, right? I wanna see that happen.
I
I don't know,
know.
let's see. Let's see what happens if those people come in, we all argue.
Get on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so us three, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
Peer vendor applications, we have, they're all repeat. We have Industrial Maine, we have Frank, we have River Shack, which is going to be called something else now.
Same names. I'm just looking for more space.
Okay, River Shack, we have Carter Shed, we have Frank's, we do not have anything from the chamber. I think they're gonna do something different with
We
their
don't have
building. And then we have Forgotten Recipes.
We do have forgotten recipes?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you want to, any questions, comments?
Yeah, we're gonna require the chamber to only have to pay for the rental space, or what's everybody feeling? What's our town manager? We need guidance, Dennis, I don't know.
They feel
I don't-
strongly that they provide a service to the
They
town.
do, but if we charge one vendor, that's gonna fall off, just what we were talking about.
That's what I was talking about.
Just, he was just saying that if we charge one vendor.
But the chamber's not down there for profit, are they?
No.
They're not selling
And,
the chamber.
and also, I think the, info center is gone. It's a done deal. I have a feeling.
So that building,
I thought the chamber was the info center, no?
they own that building, but
They,
I think,
it sounds like they don't wanna, deal with the maintenance and they're gonna,
Pull it off.
sounds
They're
like.
gonna sell it to you.
So now we got five in my house.
Well, we need to get something for
Talk to the
market.
chamber.
See
Right,
if we
right.
can get some people to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get people down there.
The invoice at the
Yeah,
check?
It was sell pacified or something.
yeah, I was hoping to buy it and spend the night there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hey, you want?
You turn it into an Airbnb.
Guess what? I'm kinda kidding.
Maybe sweets will put in there.
Fun wordplay.
Oysters.
So actually,
I don't know, so why would that Shane explain what he wants to do while we, in the back of our.
I guess I just want to know what I need to do and able to do this, because I don't know if I have to change things or whatever. Ideally, like I said, I'd like to get that full side, so this is the shack now, we'd like to go here where this is the water, this is the water. And extend out, to obviously not get in the way of the ramp coming up, but at least have a decent size.
Oh, you're talking a lot more than 30 by 34 then.
I don't know what I'm talking yet, but I guess we have to go
We can measure, we can go down and measure.
Down in there.
Originally, I thought you buy this place and you buy this place, but now you're changing things, so I don't know how things are gonna be charged or whatever, but originally, I know I have this right now. I was just trying to find out, what do we need to do to get that, how much we need to pay, blah, blah, blah.
We don't know until we measure.
Right. Are we allowed to put alcohol on this pier? Is there anything that against it?
I would say you have to talk to town.
I would say
manager.
that'd be your liquor license.
Yeah,
I would have to just run that by the insurance company. I don't see any reason why it would be an issue.
So as long as I go, I mean, there's things I don't know, so I'm asking, more so I'm asking questions for this.
Right,
I mean, I think we kind of discussed that with them, if I remember, when we were doing Schooner Fest, and I had some requirements of like the railings and all that, which is already in place down there anyway, so I don't think there's an issue.
Okay. Basically, we're just trying to, make it, we teamed up with Winter Point Oyster. We're hoping to do, we're still gonna have a soft serve machine going, because we already bought it and we already paid for it, but we're gonna try to change it to more of like an oyster, beer, wine, probably not hard liquor, but beer and wine, oysters, maybe some quick snacks, with some, I don't know what the rules about the PR, if we can do a grill or not, these are things I don't know. Can you have a grill on the pier? We'd like to do grilled oysters, we'd like to maybe have, just easy snacks while you're sitting there having a drink, nothing crazy. Not like no fry layers, no like nothing big. This is kind of like the look of having like some type of oyster setup where people can sit down and just be like looking over the water and having a drink. And then on their way out, they can grab an ice cream, maybe the ice cream plays into it, it may or may not, I don't know. That's just kind of what we're thinking. In the bigger picture, making that pier a little more active, pulling special permits to have events down there, like Schooner Fest, but something different, like a, whatever we call it, the Shack Fest or whatever. where we have music, we extend the liquor premise out into the parking lot like we did for Schooner Fest. People can hang out, walk around and drink.
That's by issue by issue by issue, it's not a permanent.
Right. Pulling the state's usually pretty good with me about doing the extended premises for events, so that should be no problem, as long as you guys don't have a problem with that. That's kind of what our vision is, to have, just bring a little more attention to that pier when people do walk down and use the bathroom, or if they're driving across and see there's two big lines and maybe there's no line down there, and now they can just go mosey down. Or even when we're turning people away at the restaurant, I'm going, why don't you walk down there and check out what's going on down there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that pier is kind of underutilized, we're just trying to get some attention, and since we're the only one on it, we might as well start expanding a little bit and trying to make it a little more exciting.
I just want to say, from past experience approving permits and things like that, if you want to draw more attention down there, just, I think that's something we approve as well. Like, some people have had like the colorful banners and stuff that are kind of
Signage, yeah.
obnoxious. I mean, sorry, but just be prepared.
I think the parking will be an issue down there, but hopefully it'll be, there's foot traffic, they park in the parking lots and foot traffic down, but that would be part of the whole advertising part of it, to put that out there, to promote it, you know.
I
because-
don't know if the state will even allow it, I don't know if the insurance will allow it for us, I'm just, these are things I'm thinking.
I always found that liquor enforcement, when you just call, they're very helpful.
Yeah, they're really nice, yeah, they're really good.
Basically,
Wonderful. Oh,
basically the two people you have to satisfy
Blue.
are both sitting right here,
Blue.
the town manager and our police chief. And then these two guys have to report to our selectmen. So start with these guys. Be
Alright, so it's not
careful.
anything the waterfront has to worry about, it just, I just have to worry about the selectmen and the.
Right, so, well, we still have to approve this application.
Yeah.
But then we recommend your,
What does it say?
Are we coming up with names for this?
We're losing money tonight. Yeah. I'm just making off the books arrangement. So, yeah, basically that's what we want to do, we want to kind of get that corner to be a place you can sit and hang out.
basically from your vending window, pedestrian right straight.
Right straight down to the wall, and then as far as we'd be allowed to come without putting way too much square footage, now that we're gonna pay a little more. Maybe we'll.
Well, that's when you can decide how you
Yeah,
want to spend, you know?
So we'll look at how much. it
Okay,
is.
we can do that.
All right, so that's,
Even if you started out with a smaller footprint. and
so
then-
I just want to confirm that I would just be charged for this at the $5 and then this at the $3.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
As the harbor master, I think it would be good to see some activity.
Yeah,
I think
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
and,
You write down my phone number and I'll come down, I'll measure.
yeah, I'll come get that.
Okay, great. So, we want to, now that we've heard their.
350
Yeah, that's.
Yes,
You want to approve them all at the same time?
0066.
And you should get like a red Eats, red
Yeah,
3 to 4, big phone number,
there you go.
207 red Eats.
3500066.
as long as I'm
Dave.
it's great.
David.
Yep.
Dave Gagnon.
And theirs are all no change, so they'll just pay their electric and whatever their emergency is on their building space.
Oh, sure,
So, we just need to know what his fees will be.
350.
So we're just.
0066.
Thank you. I looked for it
Maybe
over there.
sometime.
Okay, everybody else was good time too.
Really? I thought I sent it to you a
You
couple
never
times.
call, you never write, you don't
Never
send flowers.
Yeah.
What are good days for you?
You like flowers?
Mondays I was off,
Do you?
Garden
but
club?
anytime
Oh,
after,
hell yes.
I get done working 4, so, except for Wednesdays, I work till 6, but
Okay, so
after
can
4, I'm available.
I get a motion to approve all the vendors, Sprague's Lobster, Industrial Main, Potter's Shed, River Shack?
Have we come up with a, fee for the ATM guy yet?
He's submitting his, application.
Okay. I think a couple $100 for a year might be,
I was kind of thinking of half of what, half of the $1,000,
you know,
space.
Why not charge them the same as you charge the commercial rent thing, $300? The commercial guy making money on the rent, $300, the commercial guy making money on the beer, $300.
Okay, but how do we defend it?
Are those profitable? Yeah, they get like a $2 fee or $5 fee, depending on what they set.
For each transaction?
That's all. They're probably wrong.
I don't know, that's something to think about.
Before we go.
We don't have his application yet anyway,
Okay,
so.
get back to the
Stay
chamber,
on.
have we decided on the chamber yet before we vote?
We don't have the chamber even.
This is the chamber's not gonna be.
Okay, chamber's not gonna be there, okay.
The building.
No, I'm not sure about that.
I don't think they've submitted
I heard the
application
same
yet
thing.
anyways.
They have not, and, yeah,
Okay,
so, you know, I
Yeah.
guess if they don't re-up, we can't
let's go with
have
what
the
we
building
got,
just
yeah.
sit, yeah. Well,
And like you
yeah,
said, we gotta mark it.
Yeah, we
Make
need
a
to,
motion
we need
to
to
close
close
the
that.
vendors.
okay,
Start getting on this.
yeah, or somebody,
I second it.
okay. All of them except 3-0, thank you.
302.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please make sure the minutes reflect that.
Yes.
That's why I said,
I promise. Okay, so you probably, we all are gonna be here next Tuesday. What time is it part of the selectmen's meeting?
Yeah, it's part of the regular selectmen's meeting.
So 6 o'clock.
Do we have to be here to make these presentations?
I think one of you should be. I don't know that all of you need to be here, but.
and if they wanna hear that story, it probably should be David.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Later.
David, yeah.
Dennis, before you scoot out, what was the name of the? Hurry up.
I'm gonna get it done.
Make it happen.
I'm not screwing around. 617, I said the last one.
617.